Already in today's video, we're going to be looking at one last deck before rotation, and that deck is going to be Espathra EX. I absolutely love this deck, being able to have the kind of control elements that I like in Pokemon, but also being able to take prize cards as well. This deck I think is severely underrated right now, and kind of can just cheese your way into some pretty cool wins. Let's get to the deck list. Already here at that deck list, starting us off with Espathra EX itself. Has that Terra ability. As long as Pokemon's on your bench, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. Has the ability Dazzling Gaze. As long as Pokemon is in the active spot, attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon cost one more. So very helpful, really applying pressure into decks like Dragapult, where they kind of already play low energy count as is. You really get to punish them by forcing them to have to attach extra energies, which is very helpful. Now, our one attack we can use is Psyball for 1 psychic energy, 30 plus. This attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So the more energy attached to my Pokemon and theirs, the more damage our Espathra will be doing. Now, we do have to get energies in play pretty quickly, and we need a draw engine. Xatu is absolutely perfect for that. With the ability Clairvoyant Sense, once in your turn, you may attach a basic psychic energy from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. If attached energy card in this way, you get to draw 2 cards. So being able to do turbo and power in some energies with the Xatu, but also being able to draw some cards as well. We are playing a 2-2 line of the Baniri and Mega Lopunny as well. Mega Lopunny EX with the first attack, Gale Thrust for 1 energy, 60 plus. This attack, this Pokemon has moved from the bench to your active spot this turn. This attack does 170 more damage. So very helpful in kind of just quick scenarios where we need to take fast knockouts very quickly, but we also need to make sure that we have a way through Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, and that's where Mega Lopunny also comes in, with its second attack being that Spiky Hopper for 2 colorless energy, 160 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so a nice good shred effect, being able to get through things like Mimikyu as well, which is very helpful. Got 1 copy of a Bidoof for that Itchy Pollen. We're also playing 1 copy of Psyduck for the Damp ability. Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents lose any ability that will require the Pokemon using it to knock itself out. Now, that is very helpful because our Xatu only has 100 HP, so we really need to make sure that our opponent who is playing at Dragapult Dusknoir cannot just go blowing up all of our stuff with Dusknoir. So that's very helpful as well. And then for the trainer count here, we're playing a 4 copies of Iono, 4 copies of Lilies, 3 Arven, 2 Boss, and 1 Professor Turo Scenario, which is really good. And then we're also playing 3 copies of Buddy Ray Poffin, 2 Pokegear, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Enhanced Hammer, and then 1 copy of Night Stretcher, 1 Super Rod, 1 Earthen Vessel, which I feel like is the perfect lineup for items. You could kind of switch a couple things around if you really wanted to, but we're also playing 1 copy of Hyper Aroma. We have a lot of stage 1s in this deck, so being able to find our Espathra, being able to find our Mega Lopunny, and our Xatu is going to be very important. So Hyper Aroma is the perfect aspect for that. You could play Secret Box. I could see that working in this deck as well, but I feel like Hyper Aroma is where you want to be. Being able to check for up to 3 stage 1 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, which is really good because we are playing, you know, a 4-3 lineup of Flittle and Espathra EX, a 3-3 lineup of Natu and Xatu, and then the 2-2 line of Baniri and Mega Lopunny. Then we're also playing 2 copies of Rigid Band, stage 1 Pokemon. This card is attached to, takes 30 less damage, so it just makes our Espathra and our Mega Lopunny a little more bulky. 2 copies of Pokemon League Headquarters in this deck. Attacks used by each basic Pokemon in play cost 1 more, so making it so Raging Bolt needs an extra energy, or Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Absol EX, things like that. 2 copies of Battle Cage as well, being able to prevent all damage counters from being placed on bench Pokemon. This is very good into the Marnie Grimmsnarl matchup, Frostlass Monkey Dory, pretty much anything that deals with Monkey Dory, which is our counter to that. And then 8 copies of that Psychic Energy, 1 copy of Jet Energy, and 1 copy of Ignition Energy. Let's get to the gameplay. Already here at that gameplay, at the coin flip, our opponent did pick Tails, so we could go first or second with this deck. We had the Bidoof for going second, which is really nice. We aren't playing Tuggle Machine Evolution, however. That is a card you could encounter, or you could count and play in this deck if you really wanted to. I ended up cutting it from my list, as I felt just going first felt a little bit better, especially in the meta we're in right now. So that's kind of where my head was at with that. You could, though, go for a Tail Machine Evolution play in this deck, because we are, you know, go to the Arvins and kind of go that route for it. But if you're going to do that, you should play Sacred Box, not Hyper Aroma. That's why I went for first, because I can just go Hyper Aroma, find all my stuff. All right, so our opponent is going to be on Ends Zoroark EX. Now, with that being said, it's kind of interesting because we're in a really weird situation of the fact that this deck should be able to counter Enzorba. However, our Espathra is weak to fire, so Enstarmok and Enstarmanitan can get pretty nasty pretty quick. So we'll have to see how this will kind of pan out here for this matchup. Our starting hand is not great for going first, however, just a Natu in play and Pokemon League headquarters and pass. The reason I did that is because I don't want them to be able to scratch, get a knockout with, you know, Binding Mochi, make it poison and all that extra stuff, and then just win the game. So forcing the headquarter in early was kind of our way to like save ourselves, but they had the bounce with Gravity Mountain. We're able to hit for 40, which is not great. So we're going to bounce that again with Battle Cage. And we're just going to let the Iona fly. We should have went for the Lily's Determination here, so we aren't giving our opponent more cards. And we would have actually drawn more cards ourselves, but a little bit of a misplay there. It is what it is. Buddy Poffin here, going to get Flittle and a Natu. We did evolve our Xatu into a Natu, or our Natu into Xatu, my god. And then we're going to go into the Badoo here. Itchy Pollen, punch for 20 for that weakness. Our opponent is now item locked. So we'll have to see how it'll all kind of shake out now that they aren't going to be able to use any sort of items. Now, they are going to boss his orders here, pull up our Xatu, which is not what we want, scratch for another 20, but we're weak, so it's going to be 40 here. And now I'm like, okay, now what do I got to do? We got a Xatu enhance. We're definitely going to evolve that. We are going to have one Clairvoyant Sense, so we're going to see how greedy we can be here. And we are just going to Clairvoyant Sense right to our Espathra, and we're ended up going to get Jet Energy here, which is kind of huge. Pokegear into an Iono. So now we're going to be able to Jet Energy up our Espathra X. They're going to be able to play the Iono, disrupting our opponent, but also getting us some more cards because we were definitely in the hurt. Buddy Poffin here. We're going to grab ourselves a Baniri and another Flittle is kind of what we're eyeing up. So we're going to get both of those into play. And now we have another Xatu Clairvoyant Sense here. So Clairvoyant Sense, put it right onto the Baniri would have been good, but we're going to go for the Flittle here. So we do have Espathra in hand, which is going to be kind of our next route here is getting a second Espathra set up. We're going to take the knockout, getting us into a 5-6 split. So we're on an odd prize race now. We need to take another single prize knockout to put us back on track to take out 2 Enzorark X. So we'll have to see. Our opponent here going to Pokepad into an Ensdarmanitan. Now this deck could also play Pokepad, but I feel like you don't really need it. You just buddy pop and find the pieces you need, and then you Hyper Aroma, and then after that you're kind of just set up. But you could play Pokepad if you really wanted to. I just feel like it's not necessary in this deck, so I opted out of just keeping the list as is. Our opponent here just getting Enzorark EX is in play, gonna get the Petron in play with the Binding Mochi, gonna be able to trade here, just keep discarding cards. 0-6 Machinations actually is kind of insane into my deck because we have so many cards in our hand that I feel like it would have been pretty solid. But nah, alas, here we are. Counter Catcher on to us, pulling up the Baniri, gonna take the knockout on the Baniri potentially. Night Joker here, gonna probably take the knockout, which is honestly a pretty good idea. You definitely want to get rid of the Mega Lopunny as fast as you can, but they're also gonna be able to take out the knockout on our Flittle here with that attack from Ensdarmanitan. So 2 prize knockout for them, gonna put us to a 5-4 split. So we are gonna be behind now, which will activate Counter Catcher and such, but we'll have to see kind of if that will come into play here. We're gonna go Buddy Poffin again. We're gonna get another Flittle and another Baniri, get him into play, and we're just gonna have to see what we can do. Pokegear, gonna get us a boss's orders, but we really just need an energy. We are only gonna be doing 180 here, which is not really what we want. And the Petron, I'm pretty sure is weak to fighting, which is not what we wanted, because if it was weak to grass, we might be able to kind of get an energy and take a knockout. But we're gonna pull up the Enz Zekrom potentially here, which could have been a pretty solid play, but it's not weak to anything, so we're actually not gonna do enough damage to knock it out. So we're just gonna pull up the other Enzorark and then punch it for 180. This one doesn't have Binding Mochi on it, so the idea here is that our opponent won't be able to take any sort of huge knockouts because they won't be able to go Enz PP up, put a bunch of energy in play, move them all over the place because it'll be in the active spot, not the bench. But if they go into the one with Binding Mochi, it doesn't have as much damage counters on it, so it's ideally not going to be able to do as much damage. We'll have to see. Secret Box here, discarding 3 cards, really just turboing now at this point. For them, gonna get a Stadium, a Supporter, an item, and I forget the last one, a Tool. There we go. So pretty solid for our opponent. Now, what we can do here on our next turn is we could Iono. If they take the knockout, we could Iono here, putting them down to only 2 cards in hand. The thing that does feel bad about Iono Ionoing a End Zoroark player is that they just get to draw a bunch of cards. Like trade, discard, and just keep going. But our opponent here gonna be able to get all 3 energies onto the End Zoroark EX with the Air Balloon Retreat, go back into the Petra Run with the Ends Reshiram here, and the Iono for disruption. They are gonna be taking a huge knockout on our Espathra EX here. But you see that counter catcher popping up, which could come in handy here. We do have another Espathra as well. We do have Earthen Vessel to get some energies in play. We're just gonna have to see kind of how it all pans out. Gonna be able to take 2 prize cards here. Now, I believe they are out of Ends PPF, so gonna be able to hopefully capitalize on the fact that they aren't gonna be able to get energies back into play as quickly. So we're just gonna have to see here. Artisan, I'm looking at grabbing something. We're just gonna grab, I think, the Not To here. Thin the deck a little bit. We don't really need it. And I think the play here is that's to take the knockout on the active Pokemon. So we're gonna discard Counter Catcher, keep the boss's orders. We're gonna Clairvoyant Sense here, put the energy to the Espathra, draw 2 cards, another Clairvoyant Sense probably here. Gonna go for that. Gonna be able to put another energy in play. Put that one onto the Baniri. Now Enhanced Hammer, kind of a dead card into this matchup. We are gonna Iono our opponent here, try to get some disruption going, just trying to piece it all together. We're gonna get the Mega Lopunny EX to evolve as well, and then we're just gonna retreat out of this into the Espathra here. We are also gonna be able to attach for turn if we really want to, but attaching for turn kind of puts you in this scenario where you don't get the Clairvoyant Sense, which does feel a little bad. So I'm actually gonna hold it in my hand because I want to be able to Clairvoyant Sense and draw some more cards next turn. Take the knockout on the End Zoroark, putting us to a 3-2 split. Getting the Ignition energy off our prize cards can be pretty good. We got the Xatu in hand because we got it off the Hyper Aroma, so we got all of our draw support going. We're kind of in a situation where we really just need to win this game in a certain, kind of now. Our opponent gonna super up, put some energies back into play. Lily's Determination, just trying to find some more energies. Getting one of the energies onto the End Zoroark EX. Like I said, they used all their Ends PP up, so they don't have any more, which is gonna be pretty huge for us. We're gonna put the Rigid Band on the Mega Lopunny here, evolve into the Xatu, and we're gonna Clairvoyant Sense. We really want to get rid of that End Zoroark X, so we're gonna do that, draw boss's orders here, pull up the End Zoroark, then we're gonna be able to attach the Ignition energy, which counts as 3, and we are gonna be able to take that huge knockout. But our opponent acknowledges if they knock out that End Zoroark, I don't have a way to come back. So really being able to punish our opponent with that Dazzling Glaze ability, forcing them to have to use all their Ends PP up super quickly, and then really just closing out that game with the final knockout on that last End Zoroark EX. Our opponent has nothing left to do. We got the draw support going, we got the turbo going with all of our energies coming into play with the Clairvoyant Sense, and we had 2 attackers ready to go. Let's get to the outro. Alrighty guys, that's for today's video. I'll make sure to put Decklist that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. This will be the last TCG video I make before rotation. All the decks coming out on this channel after that will be post-rotation stuff, and I'm really excited for rotation. I'm tired of this stale meta, and I'm looking forward to things to play with. But as always, if you guys enjoy the content I've been making stuff for the channel, definitely make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And check out the live streams here. We're doing the Fisherman Challenge still. Just defeated Koga. It has been going pretty well, and it's been tons of fun being able to kind of roleplay as a fisherman. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely check out the live stream. But I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!
Mega Blitz controlling his veins.